rushing to send our troops over there, but where's the rush to take care of them right back here? Hi, everyone, and welcome up Neil Cavuto. And with more than 300 troops now headed to Iraq, Washington still has its head in the sand when it comes to cleaning up the VA back here. Still no fix, still no finished bill, still no rush. Our soldiers, well, still no choice. Our lawmakers, still no clue. To Charles Payne, Dagan McDowell, Adam Lashinsky, and Charlie Gasparino. Ben Stein is going to be back next week. To Charles Payne on what he makes of all these developments this week.
I just think for the administration, the stakes are too high. Even with the war, even with the pledge and no boots on the ground and all that stuff, the stakes are too high with this VA thing to let it be morphed into something where ultimately the savior is the private sector. Let it linger on. Forget about the, getting regular doctors and hospitals involved. If you somehow get the public to believe that there's no solution for a government-run system, this blows everything out of the water.
I always wonder what those soldiers who are going to be converging on Baghdad think about how veterans are treated back here as they do. You know, Dagan?
Absolutely. They have to worry about it. The entire nation should worry about it. But I worry in particular about rushing through a fix for the VA, and here's why. Let's think about how Congress often acts with urgency to treat the sky is falling problems, like TARP, for example, the bank bailout, right? That they don't look, it turns out to be a very costly morass. And that, this has been pointed out in the Wall Street Journal, that this fix that's now going to conference in front of Congress, it could add an additional $50 billion every year to the VA's budget. That would almost double what we spend right now. We have to, be careful about what we push through just for political cover.
Charlie Gasparino, you have to think, money has never been, I think, the issue with the VA. It's how we spend it. And to Dagan's point, with a $180 billion plus budget now, throwing another $50 billion doesn't really solve the problem unless we get to the bottom of the problem.
Right, and most Americans wouldn't mind spending good money on this to get it fixed, because we cherish the people who go overseas, and it's just such a crime that they have to go over, put themselves in harm's way, and then come back and get crummy care. I will say this, though, I kind of disagree with the premise of your question. We didn't really rush over there. I mean, this is part of the same problem. The administration that let that place blow up, meaning over there in Iraq, and by the way, it's not just Iraq, this ISIS group wants to establish a caliphate from Syria to Iraq. The same administration that allowed that to happen right under their nose, this caliphate in the middle of a very sensitive part of the world, you can't trust them to fix the VA. I mean, these are the Keystone cops. There's almost no way to describe them other than they were really stupid when it comes to this stuff.
Adam?
I don't think they're being stupid. I think, first of all, it's totally prudent to send a small force over there to protect the embassy workers. That you would have howled. We have howled that didn't happen in Benghazi the way it should have. So that's prudent. And I agree that we don't want to fix the VA quickly. This is a decades-long problem. It will require a serious, substantial fix that, Charles, I don't think should mean closing down the VA and turning it over to private care. I do think, I think you and I will agree, we should utilize the market. We should send some of these people.
But Adam, what gives you any confidence that an administration where what happened in Iraq occurred right under their nose? I mean, this is really bad. This is really bad stuff. What's going on there? It just blew up, and half the country is taking over. No, it's not. Half the country is taken over right now by terrorists, right under the nose of this administration. What gives you the confidence that this administration
the other administration before it had some screw-ups getting us in here, right?
Well,
Charlie,
those are two different issues. You're arguing about whether we should be in the war or not. I'm saying once we were there, this administration, under their nose, there's a caliphate being established in Iran and Syria, in Iraq and Syria. What makes you think they can do, if they can't handle that they're going to handle the VA?
I just think you pick and choose your villains in this.
It is amazing.
No, but you're talking about all
I'm talking about is where we are right now. Where we are right now is what it says about how we're going to treat these soldiers now, how we treat our veterans now. Your argument is we're doing a poor job at both.
Not only that, I keep hearing, let's wait. What about the vets who needed an operation 6 months ago? I mean, who's going to tell these people, let's go have 3 or 4 or 5 committees? Dagan's right. We rushed in to give the banks $1 trillion. We rushed to do that, and now we have to take baby steps. Some of the key points of this
legislation, they're at the reconciliation. Explain this to me, Dagan. Where the House measure, the Senate, they've already approved a fix for the VA, and I agree with you. They're throwing good money after bad here, but two key aspects of this legislation, twin legislation, intrigue me. The idea for vouchers, you can get care elsewhere, and that you can fire people. Maybe not as easily in the Senate measure as in the House measure, but that's the kind of stuff I wanted to move quickly on, and they're not.
Well, the major cost of this would be in the ability to seek private care, in part. But also, does the VA have a way of administering that? They don't even know.
Maybe they're too overwhelmed. Maybe they just can't do it.
Maybe institutionally it's screwed up.
Well, I think I raised a good point.
It is the instinct, though, of politicians to throw money at something and do it quickly and not follow through on the details.
It's like infrastructure. We think, well, we're not spending enough money when we're spending a lot of money.
We don't even know. Only about a little more than half the veterans eligible for the VA are part of the VA system right now. They do this. They don't even have any idea how many veterans will actually seek treatment.
Would you shut down the VA? Would you just start over? Because that's a big switch.
I think you need to.
I would.
Well, then you've got a lot of people discombobulating in the interim.
I'll tell you what we should do.
I've spoken to doctors about this. Institutionally, that place is really screwed up. It's a very screwed up place.
Adam, what do you think of that? Shut it down. Your argument is that then what, right?
Yeah, no, it's too big, it's too important, it's too critical to our veterans just to shut it down. I actually think,
let him answer.
I think the president. I think the president should act. You know, our president is a big fan of executive orders. I think he should issue an executive order on some of the things that you mentioned, Neil. He should allow vouchers to be used. He should allow incompetent doctors or incompetent administrators to be fired. That would be an excellent thing.
See, but I don't think
if it's ever calling for a Simpson Bowles committee, study, it's the VA.
Oh man,
you do
so
need.
Let's do it. Let's make it better.
Why
not
aren't they
kill
doing it? I mean, I agree with you, but
I don't know. We don't have a lot of time here. These, a lot of these soldiers, these veterans, are killing themselves at the rate of 20 plus a day.
That's the problem. And
we don't have time for a study.
So wait. What are you going to do? You're just going to throw money.
Well, you were the one who just said shut down the VA.
I think you have to institutionally change it. The only way.
I know, but you just said have a study, and then you also said shut down the VA.
Have a study
and then
to know what to shut down and how to create it.
I do want to be clear, though.
And don't give them Big Macs.
I want access to more private health care. I want the ability to fire. I want accountability. I want it less centralized. You've got 10,000, 11,000 people centralized making decisions for all these different regions. That there's certain things that we can do quickly and certain things we can do long run to make sure that these millions of veterans are treated the way they deserve to be treated.
I do like the idea of an executive order. I'm not a fan of these executive orders, but at least have one that would be effective and helpful to veterans.
Could you imagine an executive order?
The president signed an executive order to fire federal workers.
Yeah, oh my God.
That won't happen.
Yeah.
That won't happen. But Adam mentioned it's a good idea. There's one guy,
Yeah, 2 Fox News alerts. The fact that Adam mentioned it, and the other one would forget about it.
But we do realize nothing's going to happen.
By the way, I'll say something else that radical that I think you'll like. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to do away with the VA if we replaced it with something better. But you'd have to sunset it over a long period of time, like say 15 years.
But at least know what you're dealing with. If you talk to enough doctors, they will tell you institutionally there's a problem there. But I think the real problem is it's the administration, the same administration that did not know a caliphate was being established.
Back on the VA,
Charlie. Don't politicize
there are some.
They're incompetent.
There's some veterans. It's like you talk to some doctors. There's some veterans who are happy with the care that they get in the VA system.
Well, some people like Obamacare.
It depends on the region.
Some people like Obamacare.
Well,
it doesn't excuse
good point.
Hey, Adam, since you're thinking out of the box, maybe also get rid of the Department of Education and a few others, right?
One step at a time.
Let's talk, Charles.
Let's talk. We're taking him from the dark side. When we come back.